This is a highly invasive spotted lanternfly, and today we're going to be feeding them to my colony of long-legged desert ants. As you can see, this is the colony we moved into a brand new nest last week. They have a ton of baby ants, and in order for those baby ants to grow, they need food, so let's get to it. I noticed that their nectar feeder was running low, so we're going to start off by removing that and giving them some fresh nectar to drink. As you can see, a ton of ants got onto my forceps, but I returned those to the nest, and I started filling this cap with some nectar so we could see all of the ants drinking together at the same time. Making sure to not spill everything, I picked it up with my forceps once again, and I carefully placed the cap inside the nest, trying to make sure to not crush any ants in the process. That was pretty hard considering how many there were swarming around. It wasn't long at all before they all started swarming the cap, and here you can see a time lapse of them drinking up the nectar. It's really fun to watch that as soon as one group of ants is finished drinking, they're replaced by another bunch of ants that immediately take their spot. There was one ant that decided to somehow fall in the middle, so I gently scooped her out with my forceps to make sure she was safe. Now it was time to feed the spotted lanternflies, and here she was. You can see that they look boring from the outside, but on the underneath of their wings they have a second pair that's red and very brightly colored. I dropped the first one into their nest, and immediately the workers realized that dinner was served. At first it was only one ant that had latched onto the lanternfly, but it wasn't long until that number started growing exponentially. More and more ants kept pouring out of the nest to attack the fly and make sure they'd have a meal to secure for their baby ants. The lanternfly was trying to hold its ground even though it wasn't struggling much, but slowly the ants began dragging it towards the nest entrance to try to bring it down towards the larvae. However, as you can already tell, the lanternfly itself was too big to fit into the nest entrance in one piece, so the ants started doing what needed to be done, which was starting to remove the wings of the lanternfly and the legs as well so they would be able to fit it down into the nest. The ants kept dragging around the lanternfly from one corner of the outworld to the other. It seemed that they couldn't make up their mind about where they wanted it, and on top of that, the lanternfly kept kicking around as it wasn't dead just yet. You can see right here how hard the ant on the top left is pulling at the lanternfly wings, and right here the red wing actually comes off. At this point, there's no question about it, the lanternfly has definitely become ant dinner, and there was no more chance of survival for this fly. Now, these two ants kept walking around tugging at the wing, and while the majority of the workers were busy still tackling the first lanternfly, I decided to drop a second one in. You can tell straight away that this lanternfly seems to be resisting a lot more than the first one. As soon as it was dropped and a bunch of ants started tackling it, it jumped to the opposite corner of the outworld, freeing itself from a bunch of the ants that were grabbing onto its legs. This kept going on for a while, but it wasn't long until the ants had it pinned. By this point, the first lanternfly was completely shredded. The wings were gone and so were the legs, and the second one was dead as well. Now, the only thing that was left for the ants to do was bring it down into the nest and start feeding it to their larvae, which was exactly what was happening. The lanternfly's body was still quite big, but without the wings and the legs, they were able to just barely make it squeeze through the hole and down into the bottom portions of their nest. You can see how the ants excitedly follow the lanternfly down, and inside of the nest, you can see just how many larvae this colony has. All of those gummy-like things that are wriggling around are baby larvae that just hatched. In order for those larvae to grow, then become pupa, and finally hatch out as adult workers, they need to eat a lot of protein, and that's exactly why ants need to eat insects as well. Here the ants were dragging the lanternfly's body and leg down towards the larvae, and it was going to be a delicious dinner for this colony. I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and please don't forget to subscribe.